Hello, hello. I hope this works. Um, yeah, so welcome back to another round of coding. And I think today is the day of adding the PyTesting to it. All right, yeah, sorry, I think I didn't see it in the OBS at first, so now I can see it. Yeah, so I'm just preparing a little bit of the issue in case of anybody joining. So that you also see this process. So I add an issue here. So add simple testing using unit tests. And yeah, to just make that clear. So it's pretty chill and not too serious here. So also the issues and the branches and stuff like that. So I try to do it professionally, but it's I I would say in a real professional environment, you should not use this less of a care describing what you're gonna do here in the issue. Um, and also you should probably have projects, milestones and stuff like that. But as this is just me having a little fun on the evening, so I think that's perfectly fine to do it just in a leisure way, right? So this would be an enhancement, and I think that's about it. So submit the issue. I will also create a branch for it. Here, create a branch. So that should derive from development. So it's hiding the branch source here. But I mean, it's not a problem to see that. So you can check it, definitely. And yeah, so that if you just change branch source, you can see that's the development branch. And I said it that it uses the development branch for all default actions. So this is why it's selecting this one and not the main branch. And it's always a good idea to have a development branch where you can just play around and do not break anything which is in production or so. So this is good practice. And then to have a branch for each issue which you would like to implement, that's also a good practice, right? All right, so create a branch. Now I can switch over to my VS Code. Maybe let's switch the windows here. Now I have to fetch. That's not really the git graph I'm interested in. Yeah, this one. Now I can also change the branch to use the for extend the functionality. No, sorry, that's the wrong one. I did create a branch, did I? Pum pum pum. Yes, 11. There should be an 11 here. Yeah, this one. It's this one. So I just did not see it. So I should have this one. Origin 11 add simple testing. And I misclicked. All right. So I'm on that branch now. So first of all, I should maybe add a task. A task for testing. I think that's always a good thing to do that. And let me just quickly clean up something here that I can see the chat also. In case you have any questions, right? So this is just me doing a chill stream. I can switch the topic and talk about whatever if there's something which piques your mind and something bothering you, that's not a problem. So I'm just here to make a cozy stream and implement some stuff. for an hour or so before I should go to sleep. And yeah, so if there's any questions, just let me know. All right, so let's think about a task. And for that, I always go to the professional Python because I cannot remember it. So we're using PyTest, and I think maybe the first thing is to check if the Poetry instance here has the PyTest installed. But I think it has. But let's just quickly, as a reference, go to the testing exercise. Unit testing. So just that you know what that is. So it's TNTAC Professional Python, and then there's 7 unit testing, and you can read about it here. So PyTest should be there, and then something like a first test. Then let's run it, and then here's the test scenario. So Poetry run PyTest is all there is. Yeah, then we may also go into the mocking, but I hope that GitHub takes care of that for the most part. And I just tried to do some basic testing for today. Right, so this is what's planned. And yeah, then we can also implement that into the pre-commit hook that is also testing the code. It's not just doing the linting, but also the testing. And I still don't have any idea why this is failing if I have a task lint or task test. But in this case, we would just have to put whatever is here directly in the pre-commit hook. So I think that's an easy workaround, right? All right, so this is what we're gonna doing today. Okay, let's check first the poetry. So the development dependencies is the one we're interested in, and there's PyTest. So this is already done. Now, for testing, there's I would say two different philosophies how to do the testing. And for example, in Java, it's a whole different story compared to what I'm about to do in Python. So normally, so those two philosophies are whether you keep the tests closely to the classes itself, or if you put the test into a whole completely different directory. So you just think about having here the SPC forces tools. This would be the whole program. And in Java world, you would have a main folder like here, and all your code would go into the main folder. And then you would have a test folder, and all your testing code would go into the test folder. This is one philosophy of doing it. The other philosophy is just having the tests rather close to the actual classes. For example, the widgets, right? So you could have something like a test widget here, right? So this could be a thing. So I will implement this philosophy. So for example, we will have something like a test test underscore widgets.py, and this will be the testing routine, right? So it's pretty closely related. Now, how does PyTest know which files to execute? This is by using this keyword here, test. So every file which starts with test will get recognized. Or maybe it's also if test is just in the name. So that could also be the thing. Yeah, so that's that. Okay. Now let me just quickly have the test in the task file. So we have now, oh, we have that already. Yeah, okay. Task test. So maybe we just have now a simple test, which just that we have something something up here. Well, let's think about maybe there's something we can test which is easy. What could we test here? So we could test initialization and see if the all the variables are properly initialized. Yeah, let's just see what it's coming up with. Class test widget, yeah. So and that's from unit test case. That makes sense, I think. Not sure if we need that, but yeah, let's just see. We now have a test method here, and this should then definitely execute something, right? So I'm not sure why I am in this strange folder here. So let's restart the terminal. Right, task test. Does it even find my little test? Collected one item. Yeah, you see it recognized that we have this test widget, and then there is a coverage HTML written to directory HTML coverage. And what can we see here? There should be an HTML file. Let me just, whoa. So there's a bunch of bunch of HTML files in there, and it shows you like this. So you see the code it covered. So it, in this case, for example, MPC tools is not covered at all, right? But as we are going to implement the tests, you will see that the lines turn green there. So every green line would then mark a line which is covered. That's not really meaning that it is checked, but it is covered with the tests. Because you basically what it is saying is that in the tests, this line has been executed. But it doesn't tell you anything about if it's checking the content or the results of this line or so. So it can be a little bit misleading from time to time. So just to keep that in mind. All right, so we have HTML files here. Now let's test something. Let's maybe start simple with test init. And let's see, because test, to be honest, is something well, doesn't really want to do something. Test the initial method. Make sure our variables are set correctly. Correct type. Let's see what it comes up with. So now we should have something to import here. Yeah. Now this makes sense, right? So we initialize an MPC with the ID 1. We have two nodes here and we have a DOF, right? And now it just asserts equals to each of one of them. Not sure if that makes too much sense, but it's just checking something. Let's just see how this is now looking. So it's collected the test widgets again, 100% coverage written. There's no error. If I change that, for example, to something stupid and run that once again, it should fail now. Yeah, it says assertion error. It should have 1, 2, 3, but it has 1, 3, right? So this is how the test is working. All right, so this makes sense. Now let's maybe check also, because we now have something which is checked. We can look in the HTML. Yeah. And if I pull that up, you see that those lines are green now. So those have been run in a test. Yeah. So this is it. Okay, and now we have to put some more tests in it to check the methods, for example. So, for example, this is just the initialization method. Now, some forces by property is now a bit hard to test, I think, because it has a cross-reference to something else, does it? Well, if I would call it right now, it would just be an empty forces. And I think that's also a good something we can test. But you see that the sum forces by property it refers to a variable here, property to node. And if that's empty, so the whole for loop will be just for nothing. So there's nothing really happening here. And then it will just return forces, and forces will be an empty dictionary. Right? So this is what's happening. So let's see. Now it comes up with something. It comes up with something different. So it initializes the MPC again. Node to forces is now being filled. And then the MPC property to nodes is also filled. Normally that's not the case, but I think here in this case scenario, it makes a lot of sense. Then you have the forces, which is MPC sum forces by property, node to force. Yeah, and then you expect that to be this one. Yeah, to be honest, I really like having GitHub writing the tests for me, because tests, I mean, yeah, you can write them yourself, but it takes a lot of time and it's just, yeah, not amazing work. All right, but let's think about it. It's not that you can just delegate the work of test writing to a large language model, because if you do it like that, then it may test something wrong, or it may test unnecessary things, or something which it didn't test. For example, I would like to have a test here to also test that if I have the forces now calculated, then I want to be sure that this is giving exactly not that, but an empty dictionary. Right? Let's see if that works, or if I'm completely wrong here. Because if I call the forces method, or the sum forces by property, and this property to nodes, is it that one actually? Yeah, the property to nodes is empty because it's empty. Now we have this node to forces. I'm not sure what to do with this one. Node to forces. Node to forces is not set. Yeah, let's set it. So this can be there, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, let's check it. So my assumption would be that there's an empty dictionary, and that's correct. Now let's see again if this made any good progress in the coverage report. So we now have mostly most of the lines we have now covered. It has this print, and the continue is not really catched. So this would be if the node is not in node to force. We could cover it. The easiest way would be to have something like the nodes, something like this. You have 3 nodes now, and the third node is not referenced in the node to force, so there's no data in it. And this will then have this error. It's more a message to the user, but it's not really that it is checked. It is not that it is checked. You can check that, I think, if you mock the console output. Let's just see. Let's just see. Make sure that there was a print statement. I think this is the only print statement. Yeah. So, if that's working, I'm not sure. The captured out, but the captured out has to be something. Yeah, more like this. I'm learning stuff like this. So bam bam bam, we don't have to do this. This could be here, and this could be here as well. So with self assert locks as captured, I'm not sure if that works, to be honest. But this captures now the output, and then with assert equals, captured out should be exactly this, because this is my comment message, right? Let's see. Now, no log of level info or higher triggered on root. Yeah. Well, I have not a level here. Not sure if I should maybe change that also rather here in the widgets. Let's think about this again. The level. Sorry, I think that was the problem. Yeah? No. Maybe this doesn't work anymore. So let's think about this again. Okay. More like this. No. 0 equals 1. So this self assert locks. This is this one, right? But the assert locks. So, oh, I have it twice. Once would be enough. But I think 0 is wrong in both cases. So, record says still length 0. So, self-assert logs has nothing in it. So why is that? Maybe we can print the self. Assert logs. Assert logs. What is this exactly? Fail unless a log message of level or higher is emitted on logger name or its children. Level defaults to info and logger defaults to the root logger. Yeah, I think I have to ask a large language model for this or Google. So let me do that quickly. How can I trigger the self.assert logs function via a print statement? Let me see. Well, I don't have a logger. I think that's maybe the problem. That's maybe the problem. Okay, make sure the method prints to console. Yeah, let's just quickly do that completely again. Maybe GitHub can come up with something better. That's so stupid what it does right now. Okay, I have to do it myself. So npc dot some forces per property node to force. Now make sure the console has been used. Printed. That makes no sense. What the hell? Wait a second. I will do ChatGPT. Sometimes I notice that if you're using the GitHub Copilot, it's far inferior to ChatGPT. Alright, so I think I have something. Let's see. Now it's redirecting the output. So captured output is string IO, then standard out is captured output. So this would redirect the output. Then I have the method calling with the exact configuration I would need. Then reset standard out. Yeah, that's always big, very important. Then that's the output, and that's the get value, and then I would say, the expected output should be then. Yeah, I think this can be done by GitHub. Okay, if this works, we will move on. No. Ah. Empty string is not that. What? The output? What? I would say empty string is not that plus that. I think this is at equal is having the expected first, right? Not sure. Yeah, okay, so an empty string is there. Why is it an empty string? I think I can run this with as a Python file, hopefully, right? Because I really would like to take a peek into the captured input. Yeah, this is so stupid. I'm not sure why this is, but you see that I cannot run it with Python directly, and so that makes debugging almost impossible. That's a bit bad. But let's do something like a print output. So at least I could find it in the console. It doesn't even have an output. Could be an empty line. It doesn't even test. It doesn't even do that. Oh, I mean, yeah. Maybe because the print. You know what? Screw it. Let's just leave that. I mean, for sure, it would be nice to have something like a test against that, but this is too much, to be honest. For this little thing here, no. Let's just leave that. I think that's it. So we have those two. I think this must be enough. If we now do the task test, we should not have a problem. 1. And we should also cover the lines. Although I would say it's not the best practice in the world. This is exactly... Wait a second. Why is it not covered? So I run the test right now. And now I have the rigits here. And it's not covering the print and the continue. And it should cover it for nodes. Nodes, what is nodes? Nodes. What is nodes? In property to nodes items. I think I'm stupid. I have it wrong. It's empty, so it cannot have something. So if I would have something here, like a free dot free, not even sure what that means. So node free with property free, and I would call the method. I think then it would have a problem because then it would not have the node to force data because there's no free in it here. But this here does not make any difference. Let's check it. If it's now covered. Oh, it's failing. Oh, interesting. It's failing. Forces 1, 2. So it's failing here. Interesting. Okay, so let's see. I give a node to forces dict. And the node should not be in node 2 forces. Then it should continue. That continues the node. Ah, okay, I see. The problem is that for each property ID and property to nodes, it assumes there should be a empty force. Well, this is okay. I think this is reasonable, so I adapt my test method. Let's test it again. So it's now it's now working, and if I look at the widgets, now it's also doing the stuff here. And all my stupid thing with that thing from before with the console output was for nothing, because the console output is just here. Maybe also the different solutions worked like before, but I don't care anymore, to be honest. I don't care anymore. So let me just quickly get a coverage again and see if I missed something important. No. So this method is completely covered now. Now, the other one, or the other method I should also test would be the def test sort by property. Let's see what this gives us. So what should that do? So for node in self.nodes, the property ID is found by node to property, which is the which is the thing which you give it here. And this dictionary is then used to do the thing. Now the thing is, or does this sit? It has two blocks here. And they differ in the node to property. One is 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and the second one is the 3, 1. Yeah, that's okay, I would say. This should pass. And I think then we have the rigid cluster. It should pass. Yeah, no, it does not. Where didn't it pass? What? So it did not pass here. The property to nodes. Well, yeah. To be honest, I mean, it's a little bit bad practice to have not initialization here again. But I think the problem was even here, right? So this is still failing. And it has this 3.3. This is not there anymore. Why? Because there's no node 3 here. Yeah, so this is to be expected, right? So there should not be a node 3 here. But there should be a node 3 here. Yeah, you see, you have to check the tests by yourself eventually. Not that I say that I would write the test myself completely and it would be faster, for sure not. But yeah. Wait a second, did I close my... I think I closed my window for the live stream. I am hoping we are still on. But I think so. Sorry about that. So quickly fetch that again. Otherwise I'm blind. Yeah, okay, now I have it back. Alright, so still there's an error. So here there's an error. Yeah, sure. There should not be a 3 here. So let us think again what this is. It's property to nodes. We have a property ID 1 and then we have node 1 and 3. That makes sense because 1 has property 1 and 3 has property 1. 2 has 2. That makes sense. Alright, now we passed that as well. And now let's look at the rigid coverage. Yeah, now we have 0 missing, all run. So that makes sense. Okay. Now, I would like to do the next thing and add it to the pre-commit hook to just test it out. I mean, it's not that interesting, I guess, to watch me code tests here, but I think it would be good to have a complete live stream where we have the whole process in it. So next thing on this list would then be to add the pre-commit hook. And so for that to happen, I would say we should go to the pre-commit hook. Which is here. And then there should be something like another hook. Formatting. I'm not sure if we have that. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad thing, but I would say this should happen before the linting. Why isn't that working? So hooks and then ID. It has a problem here. Missing property language. Language? Alright, system. Yeah, and then let's do the testing. Python testing. Yes, I would say that's correct. Now let's see if we, first of all, we do the commit hook and commit that one. Commit hook, because then we are sure that for the next commit, and it's still doing that. Missing required key language. Yes, sorry. It's also a system language. Yeah, maybe, yeah. So let's see it about that. So name is that. Then entry should be here. Then we have language, and then we should have types. Python, yeah. So let's do that here as well. Okay, that worked. And now let's first test. To be honest, I'm not sure if it's really doing the testing. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure if the pre-commit hook now requires you to have a successful test, or yeah, I think so. Yeah. So let's test this. Let's test the testing. Let's go to test rigid and add some bunch of stupid thing here. Not here because that would not get taken, but here, right? So this was our first thing where we changed something, and then there should be a problem, right? So if I now run the task test, it should fail, because that's what I wanted that to do. So I make now a test commit should fail, because the testing would have a failure in it. And if this runs through, we have a problem in the PyTest. Okay, it does not let me commit it. So command output, it says exactly what we would expect. So the assertion error here, whatever. Good, that's a good thing. So we have confirmed that it's doing what we would like to do. Now we don't have anything to commit. That's also good. All right, so we have a commit hook already in place now, and it's working too. That's great. Great news. So the next thing I would like to do here is test another thing. So we have tested the rigid. Now let's get a little bit more into the jungle. Test the reader. Well, here we will go into mocking, I think, and that's another topic which is more like a rabbit hole, because mocking is taking away side effects. So just imagine of testing in that reader now. For this reader to be tested, you have to go either one route of the mocking, and the other route would be to actually have test files which you can read in. Because just think about what this requires you to do. It requires you to read in a file. And if you read in this file and don't have a file, it will fail just right away. Now, if you would not like to have a test file for every test scenario, you could mock away some functionality of there. So yeah, for example, you could mock away the file itself. So you could just have this file content be something which you just make up and say, this is the file content, and now I test just the methods I have here. For example, the split line method, right? So the split line method, it requires you to have a line, and to just test this thing here. I mean, you don't have to have a text file here. But for example, to the build node property, it goes to the file content. And so in order to that this is really going, you would either have to have the file content being just faked, right? So this would be one thing. Or you would have to mock the read lines method. And I think this would be the better thing to do it. So to mock away the read lines method and just give the desired output we would like to have. So that's maybe the thing I'm going for. So let's see. So let's do a new file, test model reader. Now it's called model readers, and I have now the FEM file reader. Let's make sure that we have the same nomenclature. So test rigids. Now I would have a test FEM file reader. So we have for sure the import unit test, and then we have the class test FEM file reader. Mock the readlines method. So to be honest, I have no idea how to do this without checking some documentation. So I don't think this is correct. There should be something like an add mock or whatever. Yeah, so this patch is definitely something to import. So patch this method. That seems like a good thing. So I'm patching this method here and say that it's returning this thing. Yeah, that's a great thing. That's a good thing. Hopefully this works. Let's see. And you know what? I'm just without doing anything here, I will just try to get it to run and just see if it's working, and then we will check for if it makes sense later. So we have to do some imports here. Some more to test here. Test get rigid elements. Okay, then let's test split line. I don't know if that works. Yeah, does it make sense to do that even? So because you have a line, then a line content, and Actually, you just don't need this, I think. Ah, no, sorry. I think you need it. So that's also interesting, to be honest. So I did not expect that. You have to call the readLines method before actually initializing the variable. Does that make sense? I'm not sure. Because if you do something like this, I would suggest that the file content would be then none, right? For me, that doesn't make any sense right now. But maybe this method is rather patching and not doing anything other than just patching it. But we will see about it. So we have to test split line, we have to test get rigid elements. Do we have anything else to test here? Split line, build node to property. Should do that too. Okay. Node to property. This will not work. Never ever will this work. Because I just have grids and I have no elements. This will not work. So 1 should have the property 1, 2 should have the property 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So we should have something like a C quad. So 4 quad elements. every quad element is having the same nodes. That's so stupid. No, that doesn't make any sense. Let's maybe skip this build mode to property for now. And let's just go with the initial thing here without the elements and see if the thing does work even at all. So task test should run the tests, and then let's see what do we get here. So as attribute error, class whatever does not have an attribute read lines. What? So the mocking does not work. We have to do that again. Oh. Oh, I have no idea, to be honest. Let's see about this. So the read is a private matter, so we need to mock it and return proper file content. So I like this with the patch. Now test init. Okay, that makes sense now. Because this method now is this method. And the return value is none. So that makes sense. I think we can now skip all of that and do it once more. But before we do that, let's just test the initialization, if that even works. It makes sense for me now. But it still fails. So it has blah 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 blah, does not have the attribute read lines. Yeah, because it's a private method, right? Okay, so we have initialization here with a file path and the block size. And I can remember now how this was meant to be seen. So the model reader's FEM file reader does not have the read lines because it's a private method. Is it? Is that the reason? So this is the read lines. Ah. I don't get that. I don't get that why this is now failing. This is failing. That's a good thing to ask ChatGPT, I think. Okay. That is really spooky. So it has something to do with the inner renaming, and you have to do something like this. The mangled name. This is working, eh? No. Test FEM file reader object has no attribute that should equal. Yeah, now this is a different different error. Because there is no... Right? There's no inheritance from test case. Wow! Okay. Now we're talking. It worked. Let's let's not make the same mistake twice. Let's not make the same mistake twice. Let's check it before going to the next line, next method. What is the next method? Build node to property, and I think this will fail for sure. Ah, no, I think we can have something like... What? The file content should be something like that? Stupid? No, 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 no. Uh-huh. That doesn't make any sense. No, 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 no. So we have mocked the method, right? We have mocked the method, but the return value has to be... yeah, so this has definitely have to use the patch. No, not the split line. So basically it has to have the same mock as before. Because we have to give it something which makes sense. Now, but now we have to also define the return value. And the return value is not that easy, to be honest. Yes, so this has to have then the method here as an input parameter. Yeah, don't get confused that this is now an input parameter. This is just a reference how this patch is being referenced from within this method. So I cannot remember again how we did that before. So this patch, how is this called? Decorator. This patch decorator says, okay, there's a method, one method in this case. We could also patch multiple methods. There's one method which is exactly this location. So SPC tools, whatever, reader, model reader, FEM file reader, blah, blah, blah. Read line. And this is because the mangled name forced us to do it, that we have this strange syntax. Now, the thing is, this method now can be referenced from within here, and you can also define the return value. And how can you reference that? You can reference it by this parameter. And if we would have multiple patch methods, then we would also have multiple input, it's not really an input, but input arguments here, which we can then use. And the order of the methods here reflects the order of the patch methods there. So this is that. Okay, now the return value is interesting. It's definitely a list of strings, and it will be a lot of strings. And I have to think about something. So basically, I would like to have the node to property, and the easiest way is to have something like a minimal solution. So if I have a grid, let's see how this data is looking like. So I would have something like a C-trier later on, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so something like this. This would be an element line. Then let's also define a grid line. A grid line would be something like this. You can change the IDs later. So like this with the new line character, and then we also have to have an RBE line, I guess. Let's make our life easier. Let's use an RBE2, because those are easier to set up. Something like this. Now let's see which of the things we really care for. So why is this not working? Do I have to make a break line? Yeah. Okay, so build node to property. Let's see what this method actually does. This should be here. Build node to property. So it goes through there. And then if I have an element, it takes the nodes. And for the nodes in the nodes, it wants then to have the property. Yeah, maybe it's not even that complicated. But so that's always the problem. Now I have a thought that I would say, all right, it's easy. And I have the solution in my head right now. But this is exactly the point where you have to be careful. You have to make the effort to go through there line by line again and see if it's really correct. Because just you think it's correct doesn't mean that you're right. So what I thought is this. I just need the element lines, because the element lines will tell me the nodes, and it will tell me the property of the nodes, because in the element line I have the property as an ID there. Let's see if I'm correct. So for E in enumerate file content. So file content is the list we're generating right now. It gets the line, then it checks if the element keyword is valid. So that means it's known to us. Right now we have the quads, the trias, the pentas, the hexas, and the tetras. And yeah, if it's valid, by the way, if it's not valid, it just skips the line. So if it's valid, the line content will be then used by using the split line. Also make sure this is with the block size sensitive, because we have the block sized read-in. Now it gets the nodes. It goes to the next line. If the next line starts with a plus, it does something, I think. No, actually it doesn't. Yeah, right, it does. If it starts with a plus the next line, then it continues to read all the nodes in until there is not a plus in the next line. Okay, and then for nodes in node in nodes, where is this? This is just all the nodes of the element. It just puts it into a dictionary. Yeah, in this case I was correct with the first thought. But it happened to me multiple times in my life that I thought I got this 100%. Then I implemented it and then it turned out I was completely off. So always be sure to take this extra effort to go through there line by line and understand what's happening here. So in this case, I can really just ignore everything here. But I won't, to be honest, I won't, because I think I will use that as a placeholder later on. I'm not sure about this things here. I will just leave it as it is. So I have a grid here, then I have a trier here, and then let's just use simple and make sure I'm using correct spaces. Let's forget about the RBE element. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I think there's something missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Something like this. So this would be then this thing. And here's the property ID. And 1, 2, 3 should be the nodes then. Okay, let's see. We have that one, that one. Does that make sense? Node to property 1 has property 1. 2 has property 1. And 3 has property 1. That's it. Hopefully it works. Let's see. No. File not found error. Somehow the test FEM was read in, but we wanted to patch it. Why did it work here? Huh? Where do we have the problem here? File not found error in 39 read lines. So somehow the mocking did not work. But in which of the lines? Huh? Okay, let's get to the bottom of this. Now, if I would just comment this out and run the task again, I would expect it would run perfectly fine, but it doesn't. But it was running before. What? So now the problem is it did not really mock it with open. So I will also comment this one out, run it again, and now I'm back here. This works. Okay, so I think I can safely assume it is just this method, and it's because I did not patch it here. I just have to patch it everywhere because, yeah, if I'm not patching it, the initialization of this class here is here. And it has this readLines method called. So, and if I have a file path here, it will complain about it not being written. So I have to patch it. So I patch it here and have something like a mock readLines. And then we have something like none here because we are just testing the split line method. So we actually just need this in order to be able to call the method. But the method to be called is not that much of a problem. But to be honest, this is completely bollocks, right? Yeah, but yeah, no, it's okay, but it's not the same content as what we would expect with the spaces and stuff. It's working with the 8, and I think the logic is correct, but it's not reflecting what we have in our files. This is just here the case, right? Okay, whatever. Let's test it again. Type error none is not iterable. Build node to property, self file content. The file content should have a return value here. Huh? Why isn't that being then put into it? So it gives us this add self file content. So the easy way would be to just set it. But I don't like this. Why is the file content? Because I have the return value here, right? So the return value is defined. Now this is initialized. And then also the self.readLines method is called. I'm not 100% sure why this is not working. That seems to be a little bit of a hard one. Let's just quickly go through here and do the easy one, but just before that, let me try out if the switching of the no, it doesn't affect anything. So this would be the right order, I guess. Did I miss something? Let's see, make sure the mocking. Doesn't want to do that. Okay, let's see if I have the simple solution ready. So if I read a file content equals mock read lines dot return value. And if this is not working, we just have to think about something different. Okay. Now let's see why this is the case. It says 1 has 1, 2 has 1, 3 has 1. 1 has 1, 2 has 1, 3 has 1. But 1 is in strings and the other one is in integers. Now, I think this is more a problem of the method. Let's see, the node in nodes. I would say split lines. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Okay, let's see. If I use the split line method, it should come back as stripped. And so I would not have to do something like this. So this is unnecessary anyway. And this is also unnecessary because we just can use something like this. And the line content, here has, let's just see. Well, it just returns a list, right? Let's switch it here. For node in nodes, let's just make something like node is int node. Are we sure we want to just have integers? If I'm not towing the test, there should be no problem. And to be honest, I'm not sure if that may cause a problem. That could very well be that this caused a problem earlier, because the string then is not found. Yeah, so typing is really important, really important. But now let's get back to the problem here. If I don't have this file content equals whatever, I call the self.readline. Huh. Well, to be honest, this is a problem here. Let's call let's is this union non-list? I think so, yeah, because it can be both. Is this here? Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we want to have a union here and return self file content. Now, to be honest, no, this can only be a list. Right? No. Yes. Sorry, there's a million thoughts going in my head right now. So let's just return a list. So check here if the file exists. So yes, return an empty list. That makes sense. We make it like this. So we either reading the lines and returning the lines as a list, or we returning it as an empty list. So, and then we could say self.fileContents equals self.readLines. Now the test should work. Maybe we also broke another method. No, we did not. So the testing worked. Let's see if the task run still works. Because always the possibility that you could, yeah, for example here, that you can break something like here. Yeah. So this node2 property seems to have the same problem, because the self nodes seem to have been strings. Why? Why is this? Why this is? Why? So this is an MPC. An MPC gets created with the model reader, with generate or build or get rigid elements or something like that. Get rigid elements. Yes. So here we have nodes, 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 nodes. Nodes append nodes. I want to cast this to integer. But I'm not sure if this works. I always thought this would not work in list comprehension mode. Okay, now this works again. Now let's see if the test still works. Okay. Seems to work. All right, now let's maybe take a look at what we have now. We have 50% coverage in test rigids. Just 50%? Why this? No, 50% of the test is run there. So 50 and then 100. So and we had now the test rigids and now the test model readers. Let's see how good of a coverage we have now. One line is missing. Not too bad, right? I'm searching for the test, right? Okay, no, sorry. That's the wrong one. Not the test model readers. I have to somehow also say that I want to ignore the test files. So 40 missing. Huh? What have I been doing? Ah yes, 40 missing, but there's a bunch of that we have. Okay, we still don't have the read lines method. Yes, okay, that makes sense. We also don't have something with a plus. That's also not good. So for example, with the node to property thing here, where is it? Just imagine, I mean, that doesn't make sense for a trier 3 HEXA. If I have a hex element, then let's maybe make a plus here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Then we have a 4, and that's it. I hope this works. 6, 7, 8. Not sure about this, so let's quickly check that. That should be here. How does it look like? Let's maybe just something like this. Now we just have to add some more of those. Run it again, and hopefully we did everything wrong. No, we did not. What did we do wrong here? So there is a line self, line index out of range. Huh? No new line character. That's the problem. No. Line 2 is self file content .i. Interesting. Is this a bug? No. There's a comma missing. All right. Now we have that too. Now if I check back here, the line content now is also covered. Now get rigid elements is still a thing to do, and the read lines method, no, I won't check that. So I think that's okay. So the get rigid elements is still a thing. So let's do that. Yeah, let's patch it. Def get test. Yeah, I think that sounds completely reasonable on first glance. And we still have the problem. Oh, that's a bug. I think this is a bug. Because I did not check if I am on the end of the file. So it will hopefully run if I have something like a new line after it. After that. If this now works, then I would say, whoa, what's that? If this now works, I would say I have a bug and I have to see about this. So there's an assertion error, but it runs. This is a bug. It will never happen, but to be honest, it's a bug either way. So, model reader. I'm not checking if I'm at the end of the file here already. Let's say how to check this. If I equals length of the file content, then I can break. Can I? I don't think I can. No, I cannot break. I cannot break because I have to do this too. Then let's make this, if it's smaller than the last line, then this has to be done. Right? If this now has the assertion error, we're correct. No, doesn't. Did I change it for the RBE3? No. Where did I change it? Build node to property. This is not even the method I was working on. So here. Something like this. Yeah. Because if I'm at the end of the file, there's no point in just going beyond that thing. All right, now there's still some problem here. So the DOFs is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's something with a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That seems good. Element ID. Yeah, come on. Who cares about the order? But here it's a list. Why it's a list? It's not a list. Rigid elements. Yes, it is a list. It should be a list. First differing element 0. Well then, maybe not using the same order. To be honest, the order is not important. I don't know if there's all right, self-assert equal FEM file reader rigid elements 0 dot element ID is 1. Okay, there I'm checking the element ID, then the DOFs should be this. And here, check the nodes. Yeah, I think this would work too. Yeah, and now we have something different. So, yeah, for sure it has not been the nodes here. But it should be 3 to 7. All right, we have done that too. So now we should have also this thing. Yeah, maybe let's just also add a new line here with the plus. I know it does not make any sense, but just that we have our peace in mind. No, it doesn't. So this is there. Doesn't that make any sense here? No, I don't think so. Line 2, cell file content I. List index out of range. Yeah, okay. No, it's a bug. Because I now do the same thing again here. Oh, that's so stupid. Because it's never happening. Because the RBE elements are never ever at the end of the file. But yeah, better be safe than sorry. Something like that. And now we have made an internal loop. Now let's do it differently. Something like this. This should break the while loop, right? Okay, so this works. Let's also test the method itself. It's not good if the test works, but the code doesn't work anymore. Okay, I think that's pretty decent. So this is what we got now. It's not 100% code coverage, but it's okay. We tested the RBE too. We could also test the RBE 3, but I think I will do that later. That's not determining if the project can be trusted right now, I think. And I also think I should go to bed because I see my mind slowing down now. Let's see. How is the overall? Yeah, I think this should be this one. So in the index, you see an overview about the code coverage. So the MPC tool is not tested at all. But this has to be, this is a main method. I'm not sure how to test that even without mocking everything away. But besides that, we have tested everything here. Then the model reader, there's still some things to do, but it's 87%. And the MPC forces reader has to be tested as well. So this is not being tested. But other than that, I would say I'm pretty content about the progress so far. So then we will just commit that. Added tests for model reader. And fixed some minor bugs. Commit that. I think tomorrow I will be working more on that one. Oh no! Okay, so linting failed. Good thing. We don't have the union anymore, or we never had. So we can do that and commit it again. So you see the pre-commit hooks are really helping you out. You saw that I made the changes and the test worked, but I forgot to just do the linting again prior to committing. And the pre-commit just says, no, sorry, your linting is not working successfully, and so I'm not letting you commit on the repository. And that's a really good thing. So in this case, with an easy to fix solution, perfect. In other cases, I really saw myself deinstalling the pre-commit entirely because it was so frustrating. You could not just think about you being prototyping like half a day, and linting would take you like 200 lines of linting to fix that. And you just want to make good progress because it's a prototype. And yeah, so the linting says fix those 200 lines or I won't let you commit. And it's 4 p.m. You would like to switch the computer off and go to some weightlifting or stuff like that. And now you have the choice, just leave it locally and pray to God that it will not disappear. Or maybe be corrupted in any other way, because then the progress would be lost. So I'm not sure. It could be that I'm being dumb here because there might be also a solution where you can just force commit it, ignoring the pre-commit. I mean, you could for sure just change the pre-commit config file to just accept everything and having nothing to do, and then reverting that later on. That could be a better solution than just installing it entirely. But just yeah, keep in mind that it can get on your nerves pretty soon, and that's just yeah, that's just a tip off, or just my experience. All right, I think it was a good stream today. Again, I'm not sure if I'm able to do something like this on a regular basis because it's late in the evening. I should be sleeping like half an hour ago or so. And yeah, but on the other hand, I think it's also great to have a little bit of a progress every time I do something like this. So it makes me happy too. If you have any questions, comments, or something like that, just leave it below the video or write me an email. And other than that, thanks for being here. And yeah, take care. Bye, guys.